Praise be Jesus and Mary.
Now and forever.
Welcome everyone to this November 1st Saturday, and this is really appropriate to celebrate this Mass at the outdoor cemetery altar because this is the month of the poor souls in Purgatory. So we're here, and of course we remember those departed who are in our own cemetery. We pray for them. And as I've mentioned before, the apparitions and the message of Our Lady of Fatima are like a compendium of the Catholic faith. There's so much to it that you can basically find every element, and certainly every significant element, of the Catholic faith in Our Lady's appearance and messages at Fatima. And so we do find in the message of Fatima something about purgatory. This is the apparition of May 13th, 1917, the very first apparition of Our Lady. And Sister Lucia begins by asking Our Lady about heaven. Right? And she says, hold on just a second. So it's actually Our Lady who says, "Do not be afraid, I will do no harm to you." And Sister Lucia answers, she says, "Where are you from?" And the Blessed Virgin Mary, she says, "I am from heaven." Lucia then says, "What do you want of me?" And Our Lady says, "I have come to ask you to come here for 6 months in succession on the 13th at this same hour. Later on, I will tell you who I am and what I want. Afterwards, I will return here yet a 7th time." So then Lucia says, "Shall I go to heaven too?" Right? The woman just identified that she is from heaven. And so Lucia wants to know, "Shall I go to heaven too?" And Our Lady responds, "Yes, you will." That's about the best news that a person could get in their entire life, right? She's basically what's called confirmed in grace, meaning she is going to heaven. And then she says, "And Jacinta?" And Our Lady answers, "She will go also. And Francisco? He will go there too, but he must say many rosaries." Okay, I think we've talked about that part before. Francisco, we don't know what type of naughtiness he was into as a little boy, but apparently, even as a little boy, right, he had some reparation to do. Then Lucia asks about 2 friends of hers. She says, "Then I remember to ask about 2 girls who had died recently." She's inquiring about the souls of these departed friends of hers. "They were friends of mine and used to come to my home to learn weaving with my eldest sister." Lucia says, "Is Maria das Neves in heaven?" Okay. Now, if you Google Maria das, okay, Neves comes up. She is the first one on the search. So people know all about Maria das Neves, this friend of Lucia. And she says, "Is Maria das Neves in heaven?" And Our Lady answers, "Yes, she is." Our Lady just canonized her. We can call her Saint Maria das Neves, and we can pray to her. Now, Lucia says that I think she was about 16 years old when she died. Right? 16 years old. She is in heaven right now. Again, there's nothing more desirable than that. And Amelia, she will be in purgatory until the end of the world. We just had the good news that Maria das Neves is in heaven. And now we get, okay, it's not the worst news, but it's not great news either. Right? Amelia, she will be in purgatory until the end of the world. And then Lucia writes, "It seems to me that she was between 18 and 20 years of age when she died." Now, the question remains, what's that all about? Right? What did she do? Now, I remember an expert on Fatima related to me that he understands, I don't know if he heard from some of the villagers, maybe a relative of Lucia, that Amelia had committed adultery. All right, so I'm not going to say that's a fact, but that's what this expert on Fatima had related to me. Now, if she's going to be in purgatory until the end of the world, I would say it's reasonable to think that she basically just barely saved her soul. That it was through some miracle of grace that she repented before dying. Maybe she had the opportunity to go to confession. I don't know. Of course, a perfect act of contrition would also bring her into the state of grace if she didn't have the opportunity to go to confession. But in any case, these are striking words, aren't they? She will be in purgatory until the end of the world. Now, what about all the people who know about Amelia and are praying for her? What about the masses that have been said for her? Okay, well, God can certainly accept those. Maybe what Our Lady is saying here is conditional, right? As in, she would be in purgatory, if nobody were to pray and make sacrifices her. Maybe it could be understood that way. Or it's also possible that God apply the merits of those masses, prayers, and sacrifices to a different soul in purgatory, and not to Amelia. Okay? These are the mysteries of God's justice, His mercy, and His good pleasure. Right? I mean, He's not bound to apply our prayers and sacrifices to the soul that we intend it to be applied to. So these are all good things to remember with regard to Amelia and purgatory and the souls who are there. Trying to think, there was another detail that right, it was this. So I also read that Jacinta, upon hearing this, went at that moment to Amelia's family and said, "You need to start praying for her. Do you know what Our Lady said?" And do you know what the response of the family was? "We thought she was in heaven." So guess what? They weren't praying for her. They weren't having masses said for her. And this is a good wake-up call, right, for the church today, because how many funerals do we go to where it's basically a canonization service, which is no service to the soul of the deceased? And so we need to not be so presumptuous, right, in thinking that our dearly departed are already in heaven. They might be. We can hope that they are. But we shouldn't presume that that's the case. And we should always remember them in our prayers, and in our sacrifices, and in Holy Mass, especially during this month of November, right? The month of the Holy Souls, when they are remembered in a particular way. Eternal rest grant unto them, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon them. May they rest in peace.